You tap your phone. Payment sent. It feels instant, clean, final. But for a brief moment, sometimes a few seconds, sometimes a few days, that money is nowhere, not with you, not fully with the person you paid, just in motion. And that space in between, that's where a quiet system operates. A system that decides how fast money moves, who waits, and who gets paid first. Most people never see it, but it shapes everything. Because money doesn't move the way you think it does. Let's start with something simple. You send money to a friend, maybe through a banking app, maybe a digital wallet. You see the balance drop instantly. Your friend might even see the balance rise instantly. So it feels done. But behind the scenes, the real transfer hasn't finished yet. What you're seeing is a promise, a temporary update on a screen. The actual movement of money between banks, across systems, through clearing networks, that happens later, sometimes much later. And during that gap, something interesting happens. Someone is holding your money. To understand this, you have to separate two ideas we usually mix together: the display of money and the movement of money. The display is fast. The movement is slow. When you send $100, your bank instantly deducts it from your account. The receiving bank might instantly credit it to the other person. But the two banks still need to settle that $100 between themselves. That's where things slow down. Because banks don't send money one transaction at a time. They bundle everything. Thousands, millions of transactions, all grouped together. Processed in batches. Cleared at specific times. It's efficient, but it's not instant. In some systems, settlement happens at the end of the day. In others, it can take 2 or 3 days. In cross-border transfers, even longer. So for that entire period, the money is in transit. But in transit doesn't mean floating in space. It means sitting somewhere very specific. Here's where it gets uncomfortable. While your money is moving slowly through the system, it's still being used, not by you, but by the institutions controlling the flow. Banks, payment processors, clearinghouses, they all operate on timing differences. This is often called float, the gap between when money leaves your account and when it fully arrives somewhere else. Individually, that gap feels small, but across millions of transactions, it becomes massive. Imagine billions of dollars, constantly in motion, constantly delayed just enough to be temporarily held. That's not idle money. That's usable money. Now zoom out. Every day, global payment systems process trillions of dollars. Not all of it settles instantly. A significant portion moves through these time delays, which means at any given moment, there's an enormous pool of money sitting in between transactions. And whoever controls that pool controls its speed. They decide when it moves, how it moves, and sometimes who gets priority. Let's make this more real. Say 2 companies are making payments on the same day. One is a major financial institution. The other is a small business. Both initiate transfers. But the system doesn't treat them equally. Large institutions often have access to faster settlement systems, real-time clearing, priority processing, direct connections to central banking infrastructure. Smaller players, they go through slower channels, more layers, more delays, same money, different speed. And speed in finance isn't just convenience, it's power. Because speed determines access. If your money arrives instantly, you can use it instantly. If it takes 2 days, you wait. And in those 2 days, opportunities can disappear. Bills can stack up. Prices can change. Deals can close. So the question isn't just, do you have money? It's how fast can you use it? Now here's where the story gets even stranger. In recent years, we've seen the rise of instant payments. Apps that promise real-time transfers. Immediate settlement. No waiting. And on the surface, it looks like the system has evolved. But look closer. Because even in instant systems, not everything is truly instant. Sometimes the speed is real, supported by new infrastructure designed for real-time clearing. But often, it's still a controlled illusion. The front end is instant. The back end is still catching up, meaning institutions are once again fronting the money, taking on temporary risk, managing liquidity behind the scenes. and deciding when and how the real settlement happens. This brings us to a critical piece of the puzzle: liquidity. Liquidity is the ability to move money when needed. And in payment systems, liquidity is everything. Banks need enough available funds to settle transactions as they come in. If they don't have it, they delay, or they borrow, or they prioritize certain payments over others. So even in systems designed to be fast, liquidity constraints can slow things down. Quietly, invisibly, you won't see a notification saying, "Your payment is delayed due to liquidity management." You'll just see the delay. Now think about this on a global scale. Cross-border payments are even slower. Different countries, different currencies, different banking systems. Each step adds friction. A transfer might pass through multiple intermediary banks. Each one takes time. Each one takes a cut. And each one holds the money briefly before passing along. So a simple international payment can take days. Not because the technology doesn't exist, but because the system is built that way. Layered, controlled, intentional. There's a common belief that financial systems are slow because they're outdated, that we're just waiting for better technology to fix everything. But that's only part of the story. Because speed isn't just a technical problem. It's a structural choice. Faster systems reduce float. They reduce control over timing. They reduce certain types of profit. So there's always a balance between efficiency and advantage. And this is where the incentives become clear. If you control the rails that money moves on, you control its timing. If you control its timing, you control access. And if you control access, you hold power. Not loud, visible power. Quiet, operational power. The kind that doesn't show up in headlines, but shows up in who gets paid first and who waits. Let's bring it back to you. Every time you get paid, send money, or receive funds, you're entering this system. You see numbers change on a screen. But behind that screen is a network deciding how quickly those numbers become real, usable money. Most of the time, the delays are small enough that you don't notice, but they're always there, built into the system, working in the background. And occasionally, when stress hits the system, those delays become visible. Payments take longer. Transfers get stuck. Liquidity tightens. Suddenly, speed matters a lot more. Because when money slows down, everything slows down. Businesses can't pay suppliers. Employees don't get paid on time. Markets react. What was once invisible becomes impossible to ignore. There's an irony here. We live in a world where information moves instantly. Messages, videos, entire conversations across the globe in milliseconds. But money? Still catching up, not because it can't move faster, but because the system that moves it isn't just about speed. It's about control. And that raises a question most people never ask. If money can move faster, why doesn't it? Who benefits from the delay? Who benefits from the float? Who benefits from deciding the speed? Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. That moment after you tap send, that tiny gap where your money is in motion, that's not just a delay. It's a feature, a carefully managed space where control, liquidity, and power quietly intersect. And the next time your payment feels instant, you might wonder what's actually happening in the background. And more importantly, who's holding your money while you wait?